Good evening, and welcome back. If you are over 60 and you have been struggling with brain fog, forgetting names, losing your keys, or just feeling like your mind is not as sharp as it used to be, I need you to stop what you are doing and watch this video until the very end, because what I am about to share with you could genuinely change the trajectory of the rest of your life, offering a powerful alternative to the common assumption that memory loss is simply a natural and unavoidable part of getting older. Most people have been told to accept cognitive decline, to adjust to its limitations, or to manage it through conventional methods. But I am here tonight to tell you that this perspective is not the complete truth, and frankly, it is one of the most damaging things the medical establishment has failed to correct in its entirety. My name is Dr. William Lee, and as a physician, scientist, and author, I have spent the better part of 3 decades studying how food at the cellular level can actually heal the human body in ways that most pharmaceuticals simply cannot replicate, often providing more comprehensive and side effect-free solutions to age-related decline. Tonight, I want to talk to you specifically about 3 specific fruits that, when eaten before bed, have shown remarkable potential to repair brain cells, stimulate the growth of new neural connections, and restore memory function in adults over 60 by targeting key biological mechanisms that degrade with age. Before I give you the full list, I want to share something that should genuinely stop you in your tracks, highlighting the significant impact that simple dietary interventions can have. A landmark study conducted by researchers at the University of California, Los Angeles, and published in the Annals of Neurology, followed over 2,800 adults aged 60 and older for a period of 7 years, tracking their dietary habits and cognitive function. What they found was stunning, revealing that participants who consistently consumed specific antioxidant-rich fruits in the evening hours showed a 38% slower rate of cognitive decline compared to those who did not. This 38% reduction is not a minor rounding error. It represents the difference between recognizing your grandchildren's faces and retaining your autonomy at age 80 versus sitting in a room where nothing feels familiar, highlighting the profound impact of these simple choices on long-term quality of life. And here's the thing I want you to hold on to before we dive into this list. The number 2 fruit on today's countdown is one that almost nobody in mainstream health content is talking about in this context. You have probably had it in your refrigerator at some point and never once thought it could be doing something extraordinary inside your brain while you sleep. I will get to that shortly, and I promise it will surprise you. But before we dive in, I want to ask you something. How old are you right now? And have you noticed any changes in your memory in the last 2 or 3 years? Leave your answer in the comments below. I genuinely read every single comment on this channel, and your response helps me create content that is truly relevant to your life, allowing me to tailor information specifically for a community navigating these specific age-related challenges. If you are watching this at 62 or 78 or 84, please tell me you are exactly who this channel exists for, and your input drives the research I share. We are counting down today from number 3 to number 1, ranked from powerful to absolutely extraordinary based on the breadth of scientific evidence available. Let us begin. Coming in at number 3 on our list, and do not let this ranking fool you because this fruit alone has been the subject of over 400 peer-reviewed studies in the last 2 decades. We have the blueberry. Now I know what some of you are thinking. Blueberries? I have heard about blueberries, but I want you to stay with me here because I promise you, you have never heard it explained the way I am about to explain it, and you almost certainly are not eating them in the specific way that makes them most effective for your aging brain. Here is what is happening inside your skull right now if you are over 60. Your brain, which is made up of roughly 86 billion neurons, is losing somewhere between 50,000 and 100,000 of those neurons every single day just through the normal aging process. After the age of 75, your brain's ability to neutralize what we call free radicals drops dramatically. Think of free radicals like tiny arsonists running loose through your neural tissue, setting microscopic fires and causing oxidative damage. Your body's natural defense mechanism against these arsonists, which relies on various enzymes and antioxidants, drops by approximately 35% after 75. That means the damage accumulates faster and the repairs happen slower, leading to a net loss of function over time. This is where blueberries become genuinely remarkable. Blueberries are loaded with a class of compounds called anthocyanins. These anthocyanins are what give blueberries that deep blue-purple color, and in your body, they function like a highly sophisticated firefighting crew that specifically targets these free radical fires. The magic of anthocyanins in blueberries is their ability to cross something called the blood-brain barrier, which is a protective filter that most substances in your bloodstream cannot pass through. These compounds penetrate this barrier and go directly to work inside your brain tissue. Researchers at Tufts University's Jean Mayer USDA Human Nutrition Research Center on Aging conducted a study in which older adults who consumed the equivalent of 1 cup of fresh blueberries daily for 12 weeks showed a 25% improvement in working memory tasks and a significant increase in the production of BDNF, which stands for brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Think of BDNF as your brain's own fertilizer. It literally stimulates the growth of new brain cells, neurogenesis, and strengthens the connections, synapses, between existing ones, enhancing overall plasticity. But here is where the before-bed timing becomes critical. During sleep, specifically in deep sleep cycles, your brain activates something called the glymphatic system. This is essentially your brain's overnight cleaning crew, a network of channels that open up during sleep, allowing cerebrospinal fluid to flow through the brain and flush out toxic proteins, including beta amyloid, which is the protein most closely associated with Alzheimer's disease. When you eat blueberries in the 2 hours before sleep, the anthocyanins peak in your bloodstream right as this glymphatic cleaning cycle begins, supercharging the process and helping your brain wake up more effectively flushed and more effectively nourished. I have a patient, a woman named Margaret, 71 years old, from Tucson, Arizona, who came to me after her family started noticing she was repeating herself during conversations and struggling to recall the names of people she had known for decades. Within 4 months of incorporating a nightly routine that began with what I am sharing with you tonight, her daughter called my office in tears. She said her mother had started finishing crossword puzzles again for the first time in 3 years, indicating a tangible restoration of cognitive function and working memory. For practical preparation, you want to eat approximately 3/4 of a cup to 1 full cup of blueberries, ideally fresh, though frozen is nearly equally effective because the freezing process actually ruptures the cell wall slightly and can increase the bioavailability of the anthocyanins, making them easier for your body to absorb. Eat them no earlier than 90 minutes before you intend to go to sleep. And here is your synergy tip. Pair your blueberries with a small amount of full-fat Greek yogurt. The healthy fats in the yogurt significantly increase the absorption of the fat-soluble compounds in the blueberries, and the magnesium naturally present in the yogurt supports deeper sleep cycles, which means your glymphatic system gets more time to do its crucial repair work. Now, what I am about to show you at number 2 is something that most mainstream health content is simply not discussing, despite its significant impact on brain health. When you hear the science behind it, you are going to understand why I put it above blueberries on this list. But first, if this video is giving you value so far, I need to ask you to please take 3 seconds right now and hit that subscribe button below. Every week on this channel, I bring you the kind of research that your doctor often does not have time to sit down and explain to you in a 15-minute appointment, providing the deeper context needed to make informed decisions about your health. And if this information has already made you think differently about what is sitting in your kitchen right now, tap that like button. It tells me to keep making this kind of content, and it helps other seniors who need this information find this video in the algorithms. Now let us get into number 2. Number 2 on our countdown is tart cherry, and specifically, I am talking about Montmorency tart cherries, not the sweet dark cherries you might find in a fruit bowl. These are the smaller, brighter, red, slightly sour cherries that have been cultivated for centuries, but have only recently begun receiving the scientific attention they have always deserved. What the research shows is genuinely extraordinary. Tart cherries are one of the only natural whole foods that contain a significant, measurable quantity of melatonin. Now, most people know melatonin as the sleep hormone, which regulates circadian rhythms, but here is what most people do not know. Melatonin is also a potent antioxidant. In fact, one of the most powerful antioxidants that exists in nature, acting as a direct scavenger of free radicals. And unlike many antioxidants, it has a particularly strong affinity for brain tissue, where it performs critical neuroprotective functions. A study conducted at the University of Northumbria in the United Kingdom found that adults aged 60 and older who drank tart cherry juice, concentrate twice daily, including once in the evening, experienced a 39% reduction in the time it took to fall asleep, an 84-minute increase in total sleep time per night, and, this is the part that matters most for brain health, a statistically significant improvement on tests measuring episodic memory, which is the kind of memory you use to recall specific events, conversations, and experiences from your own life. Here is why this is so powerful, specifically for aging bodies. After the age of 60, your brain's own melatonin production drops dramatically. By the time you are 70, you may be producing as little as 20% of the melatonin you produced at age 30. That is not just a sleep problem. That is a brain repair problem, because melatonin produced in the brain does not just tell your body it is time to sleep. It actively protects neurons from oxidative damage and modulates something called neuroinflammation, which is chronic, low-level inflammation inside the brain itself. Think of it like a slow-burning fever that never quite goes away but quietly damages tissue over years. Melatonin helps cool this inflammation. It has also been shown in multiple animal studies and several early-stage human trials at Massachusetts General Hospital to slow the accumulation of those beta-amyloid plaques I mentioned earlier, which are central to Alzheimer's pathology. The mitochondria in your neurons, which are the tiny energy-generating powerhouses inside each cell, become less efficient as you age. After 70, mitochondrial function in brain cells can decline by up to 40%. Tart cherries contain compounds called anthocyanins and quercetin that have been specifically studied for their ability to protect and partially restore mitochondrial function, essentially helping your brain cells generate the energy they need to form and consolidate new memories. Let me tell you about Robert, 74 years old, a retired school principal from Portland, Oregon, who told me in our first appointment that he had stopped reading books entirely because by the time he reached the end of a chapter, he could not remember how it began. After 8 weeks of a nightly tart cherry protocol combined with the fruit at number 1 on this list, Robert came back and told me he had just finished his first novel in 4 years. His wife confirmed it, noting a significant improvement in his reading comprehension and ability to follow complex narratives. For practical use, you want to consume either half a cup of fresh or frozen tart cherries or 2 tablespoons of pure Montmorency tart cherry juice concentrate. Not a sweetened cocktail, but the genuine concentrated form mixed into a small glass of water consumed approximately 60 to 90 minutes before bed. Your synergy tip here is walnuts. A small handful of walnuts eaten alongside your tart cherries will add a significant dose of DHA omega-3 fatty acids, which are the specific type of omega-3 that your brain uses as a structural building block for cell membranes and neural pathways. The combination of melatonin, quercetin, and DHA working together in that pre-sleep window is, based on everything I have studied, one of the most elegant and accessible neuroprotective interventions available to people over 60. All references for the studies I am citing tonight are listed in the description below, providing full transparency and access to the research. Now we have arrived at number 1. I want you to understand the reason this fruit sits at the top of this list is not because it does one thing exceptionally well. It is because the body of evidence surrounding it encompasses virtually every mechanism of brain aging simultaneously. This is the fruit that made a room full of neuroscientists at a Harvard Medical School symposium in 2019 pause and reconsider their assumptions about nutritional intervention in cognitive aging. The fruit is the kiwi, specifically green kiwi fruit, the kind with the fuzzy brown skin and the bright green interior that most people eat occasionally and think nothing more of. I know what you are thinking. You are expecting something exotic, something you have never heard of, perhaps a rare Amazonian berry with a long list of difficult-to-pronounce ingredients. But that is exactly why this information is so powerful, and it is precisely why I put it at number 1, because one of the most extraordinary brain repair foods on the planet is sitting in your grocery store right now for less than $1 a piece, and almost nobody over 60 is eating it before bed. Here is why the kiwi is in a category of its own. A single green kiwi contains more vitamin C than an orange. And while vitamin C is an important antioxidant, that is almost beside the point when we consider the truly significant compounds in kiwi for brain health, which are serotonin, folate, and a suite of antioxidant carotenoids, including lutein and zeaxanthin. These are compounds you may have heard discussed in the context of eye health as they accumulate in the retina, but which have profound effects on neural tissue as well. Let us talk about each of these. The serotonin in kiwi is bioavailable, meaning your body can actually use it directly. This matters because after 60, the gut-brain axis, the communication highway between your digestive system and your brain, begins to lose efficiency. Roughly 90% of your body's serotonin is produced in the gut, not the brain. And as the gut lining becomes less permeable and the microbiome shifts with age, serotonin synthesis declines. Lower serotonin does not just affect mood, it directly impacts memory consolidation because serotonin is deeply involved in the hippocampus, the seahorse-shaped region of your brain that acts as the primary gateway for converting short-term memories into long-term storage. A landmark clinical trial published in the Asia-Pacific Journal of Clinical Nutrition followed 24 adults with sleep difficulties, with an average age of 68, who consumed 2 green kiwi fruit 1 hour before bed every night for 4 weeks. The results were striking. Total sleep time increased by 13.4%, sleep onset was 35% faster, and sleep efficiency, meaning the percentage of time in bed actually spent in quality sleep, improved by 5.41%. And critically, scores on cognitive assessments measuring attention and memory showed meaningful positive changes. The researchers attributed this to the unique combination of serotonin, folate, and antioxidant activity working synergistically during sleep. Now let us talk about folate because this is something that is chronically underdiscussed in the context of brain aging. Folate, which is a B vitamin found in abundance in kiwi, plays a critical role in a process called methylation. Think of methylation like the quality control department inside every one of your cells. It governs gene expression, it regulates the production of neurotransmitters, and it controls levels of a compound called homocysteine. High homocysteine is one of the most well-established biological markers of accelerated brain aging. A study from Oxford University's Department of Pharmacology found that elevated homocysteine levels were associated with a brain shrinkage rate up to 7 times faster than normal in the hippocampal region. Folate directly lowers homocysteine. After 70, your ability to absorb folate from food decreases by roughly 30%, which makes getting it from bioavailable whole food sources like kiwi even more important than it was in earlier decades of your life. The lutein and zeaxanthin in kiwi cross the blood-brain barrier and accumulate in neural tissue, where they function as both structural components and antioxidant shields. Research from the University of Georgia found that higher levels of these carotenoids in the brain were directly correlated with better memory performance, faster processing speed, and greater neural efficiency in adults over 65. Think of lutein and zeaxanthin as the insulation around the wiring inside your brain. When that insulation degrades, signals slow down, short out, or get lost entirely. Replenishing it, even partially, can have measurable effects on how quickly and accurately your brain retrieves information, much like replacing old, brittle wiring with new, well-insulated cables. For practical use, eat 2 green kiwis, skin removed, approximately 60 minutes before bed. You can slice them, blend them into a small smoothie, or eat them whole. Some research suggests that consuming them alongside a small amount of dark leafy greens, such as spinach, can amplify the lutein absorption due to the synergistic, fat-soluble nature of carotenoids. So a tiny drizzle of olive oil in a small kiwi spinach blend before bed is, in my view, one of the most scientifically supported and absurdly simple brain health habits available to anyone over 60. All scientific references for the studies mentioned in today's video are linked in the description below, so you can read them yourself to verify the findings. Now, I want to take a moment before I close today because I do not just want to leave you with a grocery list. I want to remind you of something important. Cognitive decline is not a sentence. It is not inevitable, and it is not irreversible in its early stages. I have sat across from men and women in their 70s and 80s who had begun to quietly grieve the people they used to be, the sharp, quick, funny, capable people who could hold a room or solve a problem or remember every face at a family gathering. And I have watched those same people, through small and consistent nutritional changes, begin to reclaim pieces of themselves that they thought were gone forever. Your independence matters. Your quality of life matters. The ability to live in your own home, drive yourself to appointments, hold a real conversation with someone you love, and remember the name of the person standing right in front of you. These things are not luxuries. They are your dignity, and it is never, I promise you, it is never too late to begin protecting them. 3 fruits. Blueberries at number 3. Tart cherries at number 2, and kiwi at number 1, eaten consistently in the evening hours with the synergy pairings I described, represent a protocol any person can begin tonight. If this video gave you something valuable, please subscribe to this channel right now if you have not already, and share this video with someone over 60 who you care about. They may not know this information exists, and sharing it costs you nothing. And I want to hear from you in the comments. Which of these 3 fruits surprised you the most? And are you going to try this tonight? Tell me below. I will be reading your responses. Take care of your brain. It is the most extraordinary organ you will ever own, and it is working for you right now, even as it waits for you to work for it in return.